I'm good, thanks. How about a 30-second introduction for those just to get your background information?
Yes, sir. So my name is Caleb Taylor. I work for Allyn International Services. Been working there for approximately 1 year, and I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I moved from Miami to Fort Myers, Cape Coral area when I was 11 years old, and I've been here since. And got into logistics, like I said, a year ago, and enjoying the future endeavors and careers and opportunities of it
Sounds good.
so far.
Um, Now, after high school, you went off to college, right? I think you even played basketball at in university. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I played basketball for 1 year for Johnson University, just a small satellite campus from the original campus in Tennessee. So I went to the one in Kissimmee, Florida, played there for a year, went there 2 years, and then returned home.
Okay. And at that time, were you thinking of a supply chain career, or really kind of things are up in the air, or you didn't know, or what was your feeling at that time?
I actually did not. I was thinking more so of communications back then when I was 18 to 20 years old and didn't really think of much else besides communications and sports management. That was my original degree choice at that time. I didn't really declare yet, but there was no idea of what supply chain logistics was or any idea of I'd be getting into it anytime.
Okay. And then I guess from there, did you take a course, or how did you get interested, or even like know about supply chain?
So what I did was when I started out in corporate about 3 years ago at Hertz Corporation, we did a telematics where we would chase down cars, overdue, missing, and lost vehicles. And we did a little bit of logistics on the impound side of that. And in terms of getting the cars out of the impound yards or the police stations back to the Hertz locations. And a good friend of mine, James, he was like, "Hey, I think you'd be good in logistics." And I asked him, like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Well, that is what we actually do with the impounds, with the logistics of getting the cars back to the Hertz lots and the Hertz airports and whatnot." So I started doing some research on logistics, and that's when I ended up applying to school, Western Governors University, which I currently attend and I'm doing currently to complete my supply chain logistics degree. And that's basically how it got started.
Oh, interesting. So then, how did you come across Allyn International? Did you just kind of apply? Did you apply to different places? How did you fall upon Allyn?
So what I ended up doing when I first got into logistics in terms of Western Governors, I did some research on what logistics is, the mid to senior level jobs in all different areas. And then I started locally in Fort Myers. And that's when I stumbled upon Allyn International Services. And I was like, this is a good opportunity to get into my field while I'm still, while I'm about to start school rather at that point, and basically applied, interviewed, and then I was hired.
What was the interview process like? Were they looking for like which courses did you take, or are they looking for experience?
So basically, this is an entry level logistics job. So it was pretty much no experience required or any degree required at that point. So I basically had a phone interview. Um, and from there, the phone interview went well. And from there, they extended me to a second interview. Now, this is kind of a funny story that the interview was supposed to be in person. So I got in my suit and whatnot and started to drive down to Allen. And they had called me before I left my house to say that it was switched to a regular Zoom interview. So that was a little funny story there. But after that, did the Zoom interview with my former boss and another boss. And that went well as well. And then I was extended an offer letter, I think a week later.
Okay, so I'm assuming without too much experience, the interview itself is they're probably just asking personal questions, maybe like what you do outside of school, what classes are you taking, what do you want to do for your career?
It was more questions on certain situations, what you would do, your experience in other things like situationally speaking, I would say. They didn't ask much about classes or courses or anything like that since it's entry level. But I did have like a few things on my resume that gave me a look, I believe, and that was me pursuing my yellow belt Lean Six Sigma and other things in that regards of what I did at Hertz. So
Oh, I see. So you had kind of like certifications or some coursework in Lean Six Sigma, which kind of caught their eye, made you more interesting.
yes, I believe so. And then I did a few courses through Coursera, a great platform for certifications and courses that you can use, and it has all different types of universities to where you can take those certifications from. So I did some courses on Coursera, and had that experience as well.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Mhm.
nice. So I guess that's a nice little tidbit there for those that are maybe job hunting. So courses in your field or anything that shows your interest in the industry, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, well, first of all, we should kind of define or tell people what Allyn International is. So go ahead. Maybe do you have a kind of a definition if someone asks what is Allyn International?
So Allyn International Services is a company, a logistics company. They have all different types of teams in terms of supply chain logistics, operations, global trade, and we have offices in 30, I believe it's 31 different countries. And we have three locally here in Fort Myers: McGregor, Cypress, and College Parkway. And we ship all types of freight, whether it's air, ocean, road, rail, and whatnot. And basically, you know, we're global as well too, to where we have offices, like I said, overseas, and you know, get things done that way as well.
So your job in logistics is the movement of goods for other companies, right? Wouldn't you
Yes,
say?
yes, it is. So basically, what if someone needed a definition of logistics? That's just the overall process of managing how resources are acquired, stored, and transported to their final destination. Is the exact definition of logistics.
Okay. And then for your account, you I forgot what account you're on, but is it military or some bigger company?
So we do. My account is Baker Hughes, and that's the oil and gas field specifically. So I do logistics for them by shipping the different products to Colombia, which is my current country that I'm working for Baker Hughes.
And I guess a question would be like, what types of products would an oil company be shipping? Are they like big, heavy, trade specific uh, types of items?
Yes, we ship all types of heavy items, whether it could be lithium batteries, it could be explosives, it could be anything you can think of in that regard, as far as it's oil and gas. And basically, it can go air, it can go ocean, it can go road, it can go truck. But I specifically do air and ocean. I've only done a few truck orders, but I don't necessarily have to do that. But I would say that's mainly what I do in my at my desk.
I see. So you're the point two person for cargo and ocean shipments going between, is it Texas and Colombia, you said?
Yes, so we
Latin
ship
America?
out of Texas, Houston, Texas specifically. That's where all of our packers and forwarders are located at, and that then we ship it out to Colombia.
Okay. Now, describe maybe your day to day operations. Like, are you working with a small team? How does that work?
My daily operation. So basically, I have down here in the Fort Myers location. It is myself and my coworker Renee, and we're the only two located in Fort Myers. But the rest of our team is located in Houston, which is the corporate office in Houston, Texas for Allyn, and that's basically what team we're under. We're under the one of the LATAM teams ran by my boss, Helen. And my day to day operation would be in terms of my desk. So one thing about I would say logistics is you have to handle certain amount of shipments per day, whether it be your main list, which could be anywhere from 100 to 150 shipments at one time. And basically, I come in and I have my certain tabs, which is the workplace tab is the main tab where you have your specific shipment list, which, like I said, can range from 100 to 150 per day. Then you have your release to logistics. That's the new shipments that come in when you refresh the Excel. It's all in an Excel file. So when you refresh the Excel file, you have your release to logistics, which is your new, which you pick up, and then you have your operational criticals, SPK criticals, and whatnot. And that's what you filter out first to action as well after the release to logistics, and then you go about your desk. And basically, my operation is to once we pick up the shipment, which is make sure all the documents are clean. There's certain documents you have to analyze and look out for certain things. So we analyze the documents of the CIPL, which is the custom commercial invoice, rather, and the packing list. And you look for certain prices, country of origin, ECCN, license type, that all has to be in a certain format. And same thing with the Incoterms, which is at the bottom of the CI commercial invoice, which in for air it would read Incoterms would read Bogota, Colombia, and for ocean it would be Cartagena, Colombia. So once you analyze those, you put it into our system called SAP. You fill out your information and then transfer over to our other system, which is ALA. And ALA is basically the system that Allyn uses to track shipments and whatnot.
Okay. So it seems like you're on your computer most of the day. So a lot of maybe Excel sheets and forms, that type of nature of work.
Yes, absolutely. We all work out of the Excel file, which has the shipment list and it has all the different countries and names of people on your team, not on your team. So you filter it to your name and your country. And I work for Columbia, I work all of the product lines in the company for Columbia, which is like ALS, WS, DB, which is drill bits, and CWI, and just to name a few.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So what would be if someone wants to succeed in this role? What are some good skill sets to know and to learn?
I would say some good skill sets to learn in this role is probably the soft skills, which is communication, problem solving, critical thinking. Definitely have to be someone that's an analyst in terms of analyzing the data to know what is right or wrong. And starting with the communication, as I mentioned, communication is basically the communication with the freight forwarders, whether it be emails, whether it be sometimes you do have to get on the phone and call them about, let's say, for example, a cargo is lost. You'd have to get on the phone with them and ask them what exactly happened to where we can retrieve it or where is it located. I've had to do that a few times. Problem solving would be basically if, for example, the shipment was lost, how do we solve this problem with or without the help of your boss? You could go to your boss, but you kind of have to use, that's where you can use critical thinking. Kind of like, okay, hey, I know where it was supposed to be shipped to, which part in the process did it either get lost or the communication was misconstrued there to where it got shipped to the wrong address or the wrong country. And that's
Hmm.
where the communication skills of emails back and forth, the communication with the freight forwarders is a vital part of this role. And I would say those are some of the skill sets that you would need for any logistics job. You know, whether it be this job, whether it be a mid-level job, whether it be a senior level role, communication is key, problem solving is key, critical thinking is key because, you know, at here at Allyn International Services, they push us to try to achieve these skills and goals, and they want us to kind of think on our feet a little bit from time to time. And obviously, if you do have to get your boss involved or someone else involved in terms of trying to help you, that's okay because it is logistics and there's a lot of people in between processes of shipping the shipment, the middle, the end, and whatnot. But those would be some of the skill sets I would say.
All right. And would you say that your position is high pressure and stressful, or what would you say?
I would say the position is not necessarily high stressful. I think it's very manageable from a personal standpoint, but you do have to, I would say, stay on top of things and stay ahead of the curve. If there is a day, for example, if you don't have any new shipments, that will be a day, for example, that you can, your current list, let's say your current list is 110 shipments. That day, if you have no new shipments, make sure you go through your list probably 2 times, because most of our day, depending on the day, you can get through your list probably once or twice, usually. But if it's a day to where it's kind of slow, I would suggest getting through your list twice. But stressful is basically not a part of this job. It depends on where you're at. If you're probably at a mid level job or senior level job, you use more responsibility. As far as this role, not much stress as long as you kind of come in there and basically what my boss said, make your desk boring, which is doing everything you need to do, make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, essentially, and go about it that way.
All right. So, what would be some advice you would give to others that are thinking about getting into the field or wanting to learn more about logistics?
Some advice I would give, I would definitely start out with doing your research, seeing if this is a career you would like to get into. And the thing about logistics, there's so many different realms that you can get into. You can get into the supply chain logistics side, you can get into operation, you can get into project management, you can get into project planning. So there's not one tier of logistics that is just like, if I don't succeed, then that's the end all be all. But I would definitely, any advice, I would do my research. I would see which companies is the best fit for you if you want to start on an entry level position, and see if that's something that is manageable. And then just pay it forward and put in the work. It's all about work ethic.
Okay. All right. So, moving forward, what do you have in mind career wise? You think you're going to stay in logistics, or you're going to pursue other credentials? What does the future hold for Caleb?
Great question, Vin. The future for me is pretty simple. I am in logistics currently, and I'm currently pursuing my degree at Western Governors University, as I mentioned earlier. Once I graduate in the next 4 months, is my goal to graduate in 4 months. I would like to go into operations. The logistics supply chain side is very interesting in terms of how the process works, but it's something that me personally, I'm not too interested in terms of that part of the process, but I am interested in overseeing the processes and making them better. That's why I want to get into operations. So I will pursue my master's in management leadership to learn how to lead people in the workplace. And then I will pursue, after that, I'll pursue an MBA in operations. And my future in terms of that is being an operational manager one day, and hopefully going on to be a C suite exec level as far as an operational purpose. And from there on, kind of be able to lead people, manage people, and make the process better. And personally, I think that the middle part of logistics is kind of the problem in most of these companies, to where the beginning process is okay, the end process is okay, but the middle process where it could be more efficient. So being an operational guy that sees the future of companies and of the process and the future of what the company or a company could be, that's where I think my mindset is personally.
Okay. All right. So, it seems like a lot of great potential going into the future. So, I really, really appreciate Caleb. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vin. Thank you for having me.